Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. JDF soldiers slapped with rape charges. Two Jamaica Defense Force JDF soldiers have been charged with breaches of the Sexual Offense Act following an incident at the JDF headquarters at Up Park Camp in St. Andrew on Thursday, March 11. The accused are Privates Michael Grant, 22, of a St. Mary address, and Anouk Moncrief, 19, of a St. Catherine address. Reports are that about 8:30 p.m., the now complainant and a JDF trainee, along with a male companion, were at an abandoned building when Grant and Moncrief entered. It is alleged that both soldiers demanded money from the complainant and her companion and subsequently sent the male companion to get the cash. It is further alleged that Grant had sexual intercourse with the woman against her will and forced her to carry out other sexual acts while Moncrief kept watch. Following the incident, the matter was reported to the JCF Center of Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse on March 12. On Thursday, March 18, Grant was charged with rape, grievous sexual assault, and robbery with aggravation, while Moncrief was charged with aiding and abetting rape, grievous sexual assault, and robbery with aggravation. They are scheduled to appear in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on Monday, March 29. Movado's son and co-accused get life sentences for murder. Dante Brooks, a son of dancehall entertainer Movado, was sentenced to life imprisonment for murder in the Home Circuit Court on Friday. Brooks, 18, and his co-accused, Andre Hines, were found guilty of murder, illegal possession of firearm, and larceny in January of this year in relation to the murder of Lorenzo Thomas in 2018. Brooks is to serve 22 years before being eligible for parole consideration. Additionally, he was sentenced to 15 years behind bars on each count of illegal possession of firearm and arson. The three sentences are to run concurrently. In relation to Hines, he was sentenced to life imprisonment for murder with a stipulation that he served 17 years before being eligible for parole consideration. Further, he was sentenced to 15 years each for illegal possession of firearm and arson. His sentences are also to run concurrently. Brooks and Hines were charged in connection with the grisly killing of Lorenzo Thomas in the St. Andrew community of Cassava Peace on June 5, 2018. According to prosecutors, Brooks and Hines were among 5 men who entered a house and shot Thomas before pushing his father into another room. Thomas' killers reportedly attempted to sever his head but aborted that plan because the machete that was being used was not sharp enough. They then allegedly poured gasoline on the house and body before setting the place on fire. Prosecutors relied on the eyewitness testimony of Thomas' father, who indicated that he knew his son's killers from the community. Escapee Kaka recaptured after a week on the run. A week after shooting a cop and escaping police custody, Ricardo Richards, aka Kaka, has been recaptured. The Jamaica Constabulary Force reported Friday that Richards was caught at a guest house in St. Andrew. Last Friday, Richards reportedly disarmed and shot a Denham Town police officer before making his escape from the National Chest Hospital in St. Andrew, where he had been taken for medical treatment. Prisoner dies from COVID-19 at St. Andrew Adult Correctional Center. A prisoner at the maximum security St. Andrew Adult Correctional Center has died from complications associated with COVID-19, the Department of Correctional Services DCS reported Thursday. The DCS said the inmate died at the nearby Spanish Town Hospital on Monday, where he was admitted after contracting the COVID virus. The department said it will now conduct a series of contact tracing inside the facility and testing will be done for high-risk contacts. It said the Independent Commission of Investigations has been informed of the development and that the inmate's next of kin has also been contacted. The DCS has expressed condolence to the family and friends of the inmate. The department has also confirmed that a correctional officer is currently hospitalized with COVID-19, while an inmate from the Tower Street Adult Correctional Center who was hospitalized has since been discharged. The DCS said it has now lost 3 officers and 2 inmates due to complications related to COVID-19. Last month, it reported that a female inmate who was incarcerated at the South Camp Adult Correctional Center in St. Andrew passed away at the Kingston Public Hospital after being hospitalized with COVID-19 symptoms on February 19. Tufton receives COVID vaccination. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton has received his first COVID-19 vaccination jab. He received it at the Spanish Town Hospital in St. Catherine on Friday afternoon. I always had planned to as sort of an example to encourage others, Tufton said during the inoculation process, adding, if I can encourage one person to take the vaccine, then I believe it would have been a good thing. Tufton, along with Prime Minister Andrew Wholeness, have been criticized by some for not receiving the vaccination earlier in the rollout, which began on March 10. Wholeness said on Thursday during his budget presentation that he would not skip the line ahead of frontline workers to be vaccinated as there were limited doses. The Prime Minister said if vaccines are available after the leading frontline personnel receive their jabs, then he could get his shot in the arm sometime next week. I will wait my turn to be vaccinated, stated Prime Minister. With doses limited to just 64,400 and with him being young and fit at 49 years and aware of what he says would be the criticism if he should skip the line, Prime Minister Andrew Wholeness has decided to wait before being vaccinated against COVID-19. His decision to wait is despite the fact that as head of the government, he interacts with a myriad of people on a daily basis and is considered an essential worker. But he insists on leading by example. Wholeness, during his budget presentation on Thursday, told the House of Representatives that after it was recommended that both he and opposition leader Mark Golding be vaccinated publicly to boost confidence in the vaccine program during this first round when supplies were scarce, he was met with serious pushback. He explained that those persons who are against him being inoculated against the virus at this time argued that frontline workers such as doctors and nurses, the police, military and persons over age 60 should be given priority. In fact, some members of parliament, including the veteran Central Clarendon MP Mike Henry, who is 85 years old, were vaccinated on Thursday. The Prime Minister said he understands the arguments and, if vaccines are available after the leading frontline personnel receive their jobs, then he could get his shot in the arm sometime next week. Clearly, to reduce the risk of loss of life and hospitalization, the population 60 years and over should be the priority focus after healthcare workers. For those who harbor fears of the vaccine, the case fatality statistics speaks for themselves. Get vaccinated, Wholeness stated. I intend to get vaccinated, but I will await my turn in the line. In keeping with the prioritization order set, some public officials, including ministers of government and MPs in the 60s and over age group, have been vaccinated. I will be taking my vaccination along with frontline public sector workers, meaning those who serve and interface with the public directly, such as cashiers, bearers, receptionists, and field officers. This group cannot work from home and will come after the healthcare workers are complete and the majority of the security forces are vaccinated. Bearing in mind that the age group 60 and over is being vaccinated continuously and concurrently with all groups. This, my vaccination, could happen as early as next week, said Wholeness. Meanwhile, in order to encourage skeptical Jamaicans to get their shot, Wholeness pointed to Jamaica's overall case fatality rate of 1.5% from over 33,000 infections, which makes it one of the lowest in the world, where the average is 2.2%. However, he highlighted that 3.7% of those who contract the disease in the age group of 60 to 69 years have died, and they account for 20.9% of all deaths locally. 7.3% of persons who contracted the disease in the age of 70 to 79 have died, and they account for 24.5% of all deaths. 12% of those who contracted the virus in the age group of 80 to 89 have died, and they account for 19.6% of all deaths, the Prime Minister shared. He told the House that there was a global shortage of vaccines, a situation that could see the government keeping restrictive measures in place well into the summer. Production capacity has not yet caught up with demand, and the capacity that exists has been reserved by rich countries. We have commitments by virtue of our participation in the global COVAX facility and the African Medical Supplies Platform. However, we are always mindful that the supply situation is dynamic and may change suddenly, he explained. The Prime Minister said Jamaica was also pursuing both bilateral and commercial options to acquire supplies. Orders that have been negotiated required lead time of several weeks to be delivered, and the situation here is even more uncertain. However, we expect to continue receiving small but sufficient supplies to keep our vaccination program active. The supply situation should begin to stabilize and have greater certainty in June as more vaccines are approved and more production capacity is brought online. This means that we still have a few more months ahead of us for the strict maintenance of protocols, Wholeness stated. 8 more COVID deaths, 604 new cases. Jamaica recorded 8 more COVID-19 deaths and 604 new cases on Thursday, according to the latest figures by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The ministry noted that the 8 deaths occurred between March 2nd to 17. Of the deceased, 7 are females from Kingston and St. Andrew, age 55, 74, 81, 89, 71, 77, and 68. An 80-year-old female from Hanover is also counted among the latest fatalities. The casualties bring the overall coronavirus death toll in Jamaica to 519. However, 4 deaths involving COVID-19 patients on Thursday are under investigation. The 604 new confirmed COVID-19 cases were recorded from 2,117 samples and bring the total number of cases on record for the island to 33,970. Of the newly confirmed cases, 338 are females and 266 are males, with ages ranging from 2 days to 96 years. The cases were recorded in Kingston and St. Andrew, 130, St. Catherine, 102, Portland, 82, St. Mary, 51, Clarendon, 41, Manchester, 38, Westmoreland, 36, St. James, 30, Trelawney, 30, St. Anne, 26, St. Elizabeth, 25, and Hanover, 9. There are 48 moderately ill patients and 28 critically ill patients among the 17,401 active cases now under observation in Jamaica. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.